It is now time for a check of weather with Nebraska Extension's Eric Hunt. Eric, over the past week finally saw some spring precipitation around the state. How is soil moisture profiles looking now as you look across the state? We had some good showers, as I mentioned, and what are you keeping an eye on as we turn to the week ahead?
Well, thanks, Bryce. We definitely saw some improvements in soil moisture across the western portion of the state, which is very welcome. If you were involved in a crop share lease and are interested in filling out a survey, this would be greatly appreciated by folks in Extension. Go.unl.edu/2025 crop share, or you can use this QR code here at this postcard. Weather, we do have some warmer temperatures coming this weekend, and that will actually be welcome news. We've been relatively cool here for the last 10 days to 2 weeks, so we could use some heat on the crops. It's coming this weekend, highs in the 80s statewide, both Saturday and Sunday. Maybe a little chance of showers central and eastern sections of the state on Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, I think we got a dry couple of days coming up here. Warm temperatures, probably maybe getting close to 90 degrees on Monday here across the eastern section of the state. Relatively breezy conditions, but I think with the recent precipitation, fire danger should be a little bit lower than it has been earlier this spring. By late Monday, though, the main storm system of interest will be moving into our region, and with the surface high being in place here over the southeast, we're going to have a good fetch of moisture coming up from the south. And I think by late Monday, we should see storms developing across the High Plains region, including the Panhandle. Those will work their way toward the east overnight Monday and into eastern sections of the state on Tuesday morning into later Tuesday. Chances of severe weather western side of the state on Monday afternoon and Monday evening, working its way toward the east during the day on Tuesday. Precipitation, right now the projections are best for 1 inch plus across the Panhandle, and I think there's definitely going to be a chance of picking up 1 inch or more across the eastern section of the state. Southwestern Nebraska, this may be a little bit better than what's currently projected, but I think there's an area of the state that may miss out really this next week. You're probably the one. The big wild card later this next week will be what happens with remnants of Alvin, so that some of that moisture may have some influence on how much precipitation we get earlier in the week. And then it's possible that we may get another trough that's come into this portion of the country by Tuesday or Thursday and then maybe into Friday. And if that happens, there's going to be a chance of getting some additional precipitation, particularly the eastern half of the state and getting into Iowa and Illinois. And the CPC does have a good portion of the state is in the moderate risk for heavy precipitation this next Thursday. So something to watch out for, but it's also possible that if that doesn't come to fruition or if it ends up sliding to our south, we may be relatively dry here later in the week. So just pay attention to the forecast as you get closer to next Tuesday and Wednesday. In terms of later next week, I think we should cool off after that cold front blasts through on Tuesday, probably warming up a little bit more later in the week. It does appear another cold front will be moving in next weekend that will probably bring more chances of precipitation statewide. I also think it's going to bring down our temperatures, so we may actually be a little bit cooler than what's currently projected here through about June 9th through 11th, for example. CPC also shows at least a chance of having above average precipitation. Some of that will probably depend on that trough. And I also think there's going to be chances of getting another ½ inch, maybe 1 inch of rain across central and eastern sections of the state as we head into next weekend. Precipitation recently through Wednesday morning, very good precipitation last weekend across the western section of the state. Some okay precipitation amounts here across eastern Nebraska. A lot of this came kind of nice. Unfortunately, southwestern Nebraska missed out until Wednesday, so we did get some better precipitation down here, which is badly needed. We've been mostly missing out of this part of the state here so far this spring, and this area of the state did go into severe drought. A lot of improvement though across other parts of western Nebraska. A little bit of degradation down here around Hebron and Fairbury. Soil moisture percentiles very wet here across the south. Much improved here across western Nebraska. Still some very dry soils though across portions of central Nebraska. Soil temperatures are mostly in the 50s, low 60s, and precip around it for May 25th, 2025. Back to you, Bryce.